let's be very clear. These bogus attacks have nothing to do with Cuba, nothing to do with the Cuban people, and everything to do with attacking and smearing President Obama. Joining me now are Jonathan Capehart and Angela Rye. Thanks to both of you for being here tonight.
Thanks, Rev.
Thank you, Rev.
Angela, they're outraged. What do you think this is really all about?
More time to buy for distraction. They really don't want to focus on the real issues impacting us right now, Rev. We have a situation where here Rubio is in the Gang of Eight needing to roll out this immigration bill this week, and instead of focusing on big picture immigration, the challenges that our country has that are age-old, he's focusing on a Beyonce and Jay-Z trip, perhaps because Jay-Z didn't give him enough attention when he was on the Senate floor during the filibuster, quoting lyrics. So he went after Jay-Z on Twitter, talking about he didn't know about this hunger strike that this young rapper in Cuba is undergoing, and be ashamed of himself for going to Cuba. Nevertheless, we still need to address gun control. We still need to address jobs in the economy, and he wants to focus on Jay-Z and Beyonce on an approved trip.
But Jonathan, they're not the only celebrities that's gone to Cuba. Bill Murray went in July 2009. James Caan, July 2009. Sean Penn, October 2009. Jim Belushi, last March. Danny Glover, 2010, 11, 13. I mean, the reason they're doing this to Jay-Z and Beyonce is because they've had a close relationship and identity with the president, not because they get upset with celebrities going to Cuba, particularly when they've been pre-cleared by the Treasury Department. This is because they're close to President Obama, so they could try to use this to smear the president despite this was a cleared trip.
Right. This is selective outrage, and it's good that you brought up all those other celebrities who have gone to Cuba unremarked. You know, the thing, and yes, this is a proxy fight with President Obama. It's not that they're just close personal friends of the president and the first ladies. It's that they were big fundraisers for President Obama, and you know, Republicans in the right wing, and you know, Senator Marco Rubio and the two members from Congress, Congresswoman Ross Laitman and Diaz-Balart, they're trying to make it seem like because they are big bundlers, money people for President Obama, they then got special treatment to go over to Cuba, you know, beyond what the travel restrictions are. And, you know, a source says that the Treasury Department cleared that, and a source inside Treasury tells me that they will be responding to a letter from those two members of Congress that was sent over to the Treasury looking for answers. And, you know, my hunch is if Treasury is responding this quick to these two members of Congress, it means that there's no there.
Well, you know, Angela, Fox News has been linking the president to the trip. Listen to this.
Both Beyonce and Jay-Z have been big fundraisers for President Obama. Beyonce sang in his inauguration back in January.
These Hollywood heavyweights who are aligned with this White House got a license from the U.S. Department of Treasury.
It's pure tourism, and I don't, in a racist country, I don't get
cultural. Like they get a cultural visa.
Yeah, but I mean,
publicity stunt, so they could get a ton of money, so they could get people to go to their websites and download their new songs. And also want to know whose idea was this initially?
Yeah.
Did anyone in the administration think that this would be a good idea?
Well, you think they thought it up themselves?
When you sing for the president, you get a visa to Cuba.
I mean, I didn't know the administration decided where Jay-Z and Beyonce want to go on their anniversary. The fact is, Angela, that several ways people could travel legally to Cuba. If they're visiting close relatives, on official government travel, going for journalistic travel, going for professional research or to attend a conference, traveling for educational activities, traveling for religious activities, telecommunication, agricultural sales, or people-to-people tours, which is how Jay-Z and Beyonce got there. There's no mystery to this.
No, Rev, there's no mystery to this. There's also cultural exchanges, and that's clearly what this is. The fact that another news network chooses to say that the president is behind some overall big push and conspiracy to get Jay-Z and Beyonce to Cuba is ridiculous. I'm sorry, I think the president is busy addressing real issues. The last time I checked, he was pushing gun control heavily in communities that matter and have been so severely impacted by this crisis. Nobody cares where these folks go to travel. We wish them the best, but we definitely think this is a waste of news time.
And I think, Jonathan, that Angela is right when she talks about distraction, because they don't want to deal with why they're going against 90% of the American public on background checks. They don't want to explain a lot of things that they are elected to the Senate and Congress to deal with. They want to worry about some hip-hop stars going to Cuba legally, if all that is reported is true, and act like the president has nothing to do with sit around and decide where somebody's going to go on their anniversary. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, or it is a cynical way of distracting people from what needs to be discussed and trying to smear the president at the same time, a 2-for-1.
Yeah, I was going to say, or it's both. It's a distraction and it's a cynical way of attacking the president. You know, look, none of this makes sense if you don't think that, you know, it's good in a twisted sort of way for the two members of Congress, Ross Layton and Diaz-Balart, and Senator Marco Rubio to have their names in the papers and having us talk about them in relation to two of the most famous entertainers in the United States, if not in the world. So, as Angela says, there are real things that these folks could be talking about. Senator Rubio is part of the Gang of Eight working on immigration. How this helps that effort is beyond me.
Well, I'm going to have to hold it there, Jonathan. I've run out of time. Jonathan Capehart, Angela Rye, thank you both for your time tonight.
Thank you, Rev.
Thanks.
74 years ago tonight, an African-American opera singer named Marian Anderson changed America forever with one concert. That's next.
Anybody who studies American history can see that the American Revolution began in 1770.